In this tutorial, we are going to learn the drafting, cutting, and sewing of a shoulder dart posture. We are going to start with the bodice. Here, I already have some notable lines. Here is the shoulder line, which is going to be the starting point as well. Then from that line, you measure to the bust point, under bust, and the waistline, which is your top length or half length. Then I have 0.5 sewing allowance. So here is going to be the center front. I'm going to take my measurement towards the side. On this first line, I'm going to take my shoulder measurements divided by 2, then I'm going to mark the point. Whatever your shoulder is, you measure it and you mark. After that, I come here and mark the neck width and the neck depth. This measurement varies depending on the kind of neckline you want to use. I'm just going to maintain a basic neckline, which is the round neckline. So the measurement I use is 3 inches by 3 inches. Then I'm going to use a curve ruler to create a round neckline. I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2 once again, and from that point I'll go down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. After that, I'm going to connect with a straight line back to the neck area like so. We are going to measure and mark the chest line, create the armhole line and the armhole curve. So for us to do this now, you're going to calculate your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5, or you use half of your shoulder measurement. This varies because of the body shape, but in my own case, it is almost the same thing. So I have 7 inches and I added 1 inches for the shoulder slope. So that makes it 8 inches. That is why I'm marking 8 inches. So the 8 inches I measured is from the shoulder line, not the shoulder slope. Okay. After that, you come to this chest line area and divided your bust circumference by 4. In my case, I have 34 and I'm going to divide into 4. So if you do not have a calculator, you can simply fold your tape just the way I'm doing. At the end of the day, I have 8.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and mark the 8.5 like so. So on this shoulder line area, remember we have 7 inches. If your own is more than that, whatever you have there, you go ahead and mark it on the chest line as well. Then you connect with a straight line like so. Now we are going to create the armhole curve. To do that, you are going to measure what you have here. You divide it into 2 equal half, find the midpoint, and go in by ½ inch from that midpoint. So from the edge of the shoulder slope, you connect with a straight line to that ½ inch, and from there you connect back to your bust measurements with a curve ruler. The next thing is to divide your bust span by 2, which is also your nipple to nipple. After that, I'm going to go ahead and label all my lines. So from your bust point line, you measure half of your nipple to nipple measurements. You measure it on the under bust and you measure it on the waistline, which is also your half length or whatever your top length is. Then you connect with a straight line. After connecting, the next thing is to do the under bust tightening. For the under bust tightening, towards this side, I'm going to use 0.75, and the other side, and on the other side towards the side front, I'm going to measure 1.25 because I want to use 2 inches to tighten my under bust. I'm going to extend the measurement to the waistline, then connect with a straight ruler like so. You can use 2.5 inches if you are on a bigger size. From that under bust, we are going to connect to the bust point using a curve ruler like so. The placement of your curve matters. Make sure it is not too deep and too shallow. With this now, we have contoured the under bust. The next thing now is to work on the shoulder. We divide the shoulder slope into 2 equal half, then we connect from that point back to the bust point with a straight ruler like so. So now this is where the work is. Unlike our armhole princess darts that we use to tighten the armhole area, we tighten the shoulder instead. So whatever you use on the under bust, you are going to use it to tighten the shoulder. You can use less or more. So for me, I'm going to use 1.5 inches to tighten it. You can use 2 inches, you can use lesser. So here I'm going to be marking 0.75 on both sides of this line. If you want to use the same value, you can simply take 1.25 and 0.75 inches on both sides. So but for this one, I'm going to be using 1 inch, that is 0.75 on both sides of this line. Then we're going to connect back to the bust point with a straight line like so. The next thing is to replace the darts that we took on the shoulder. So from that point, you're going to measure and mark what you use for the shoulder tightening. So here I use 1.5. I'm going to go ahead and measure 1.5 from the point where we have our original shoulder measurements. Now we're going to be replacing all of these darts here. As you can see, the way I'm measuring what I have, then I'm replacing it. So you go ahead and measure your original chest line, then you measure what you have in the dart area and you replace it. Or better still, you start your measurement from the center front, you skip the dart and continue after the dart. Then you are going to reconnect with a curve ruler like so. On the chest line, you're going to go ahead and measure what you have like so. Then you are going to replace it again. Alright, then you're going to reconnect finally with your curve ruler. Just like the way we used to replace for our armhole bustier. That is how you are going to replace it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is to work on the body measurement. So on the waistline, you're going to divide your waist circumference into 4. You're going to add that intake that you added. You are going to replace it. So I have 2 inches. Whatever you measure, my waist measurement, I'm going to divide it like the way I divide the bust. I have 6.75. I'm going to add the 2 inches I took for the darts, the under bust tightening. I'm going to add the 2 inches, so I have 9.75. I'm going to go ahead and measure 9.75 on my waistline. By the time I cut out the 2 inches for the dart intake, I'm going to have my 6.75 intact. So whatever your waist measurement is, after dividing it by 4, you add whatever you use for the under bust tightening or the waist tightening, you add it back. Then you are going to connect from the chest line to that measurement. I'm going to highlight all the lines now so that we'll see clearly the ones we're going to be working with. So we're going to be cutting out these darts. This is the shoulder darts. We're going to be cutting out this one, the under bust and the waist area. So the next thing now is to draw the side darts, also known as the bust dart. Whatever difference you have between your front length and your back length, you go ahead and measure from the bust point down. Then you're going to connect back to the bust point like so. So here I have, for me, I'll use 1.5 inches. Whatever your own is, you go ahead and use it. So this dart area as well, we're going to be cutting it out. So we're going to be cutting out this area as well. So this is the center front, we're going to be cutting it on fold, and this is the side we're going to be cutting too. And for this neckline, you can decide not to use round neckline, but for me, I'm going to be using this round neckline because I want to fix a rolled up collar. I'm going to do up tutorial on the roll up collar after this one. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I drop the video. As for the shoulder area, we're going to go ahead and reconnect the shoulder, but before you do that, go ahead and close the darts, then you redraw the shoulder line. Okay. The front pattern now is ready. We're going to cut it out before we close the bust darts. We cut out the front bodice now, and we're going to be cutting out the parts we do not need. Please kindly pay attention. But before that, I want to close the bust darts. We can close it before cutting out everything, and you can close it after cutting it out. But I just want you to pay attention to what I'm about to cut. So to close the bust dart now, you slash through the bust point line like so. You cut it very close to the end, about 0.25 should be left. Then you are going to push the one below, you are going to push it under. You are going to place it on it like this to cover that part. With this now, we have closed the bust dart. Then you are going to use a glue to hold it, or you use a tape to hold that part. So after that, you are going to reconnect this side. To reconnect this side, you are going to place your ruler like so. Then you are going to draw a straight line. So after this, I'm going to add my side seam. Before that, we need to eliminate the sharp points. To eliminate the sharp points, you place your cover like so to have a round shape. So after blending it like so, you're going to cut it out. After that, I'm going to measure and add side seam. So I'm using 1.5 inches for the side seam, and I'm going to connect with a straight line. Make sure to label your pattern accordingly. This saves a lot of stress and it guides you when you want to draft your pattern. So the front pattern set is ready now. The next thing is to move on to the back. I'm just trying to test my pattern. As you can see from the bust point, I align it to the shoulder area, and as you can see, it's aligned, it's equal. Now for the back, I already went ahead to draw my line. So I have my shoulder line here, just like where I did for the front. From the shoulder, I measure chest line, then from the chest line, I measure the half length and the sewing allowance. Because at the back we do not have a bust point and under bust line, then here is also 2 inches that I mark for the zip allowance. You can mark less or more than that for your zipper allowance. So the first thing, I'm going to measure and mark the neckline 3 inches by 1 inch. So you can go ahead and use any neckline of your choice. Then you are going to connect with a curved ruler like so to form a round neckline. So the next thing, we're going to do the zip tightening, which is also the back tightening. For the back tightening now, you're going to go in from your waist area by 0.75. You can use 1 inch. Depending on your body type, you can use 0.5 inches. Then I'm going to connect back to the neckline with a straight ruler like so. Then from that point, I'm going to measure my zipper allowance. Alright, so here I'm going to be marking 2 inches plus my sewing allowance. I'm going to turn this with a lining, so I'm going to use ½ inch to turn the lining, then 1.5 inch for the zipper allowance. Then I'm going to connect back like so. So with this, you have automatically tightened the back. The next thing is to measure and mark the waist dart, just like the way you connect your basic waist dart. You are going to measure your nipple to nipple measurement. You connect it with a straight line and you draw out your waist dart. So on the shoulder, you divide what you have into two. You are going to then you connect back. So I'm sorry, my phone went off around that time. So beside this line, you take 0.25 and connect it back like so for the tightening of the shoulder at the back. This is optional. You might decide not to do it. Then on the waist, I'm going to plus the waist dart. So as you can see, I already did all of that and I had my side seam, that is a sewing allowance of 1.5 inches like the way we did for the front. So this is all for the back. It's just a normal basic back except for the shoulder tightening, and it is optional. So now I'm going to cut out the back pattern as well. This is the complete front and back pattern. This is what we have at the end of the day. So I'm not going to separate the back pattern yet until I want to transfer to my fabric, just to keep the pattern intact. Then as for the zipper allowance, you're going to fold it in like so. And here we have, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to transfer all this pattern to the fabric. So guys, we're going to concentrate on the front bodice because that is where the work is. I already cut it out and I added 0.5 inch allowance all around the center and the hammer except for the side seam. After that, I went ahead to add a visible interface. So the first thing you want to do after adding your interface, put my breast pad. So from the bust point, you go up by 3 inches. Go ahead and mark your bust points. This is to guide us on where to put our breast pad so that we don't go beyond and above. Please pardon the background noise from the cars and everything. So my place is actually on the road, very close to the road. So after that, you come to the under bust. You measure down. You measure ½ inch from the under bust. So from the under bust, you measure ½ inch, and all of this part is where we are going to be having our breast pad. So from the under bust now, you measure to the first line you have at the upper part. You measure the wideness just to guide you on what and how to cut out the part. So I already cut it out. This is what I have. The shiny part is going to be facing the wrong side of the fabric. You can use a laminated form. So you can do this on the lining or do it on the fabric because it is not a plain color material. Because this is an Ankara fabric, that is why I'm putting it. If I'm using a plain color of fabric, I'm going to be doing it on the lining. Alright, so you can use laminated form and you can also do it directly on your lining. After this, I'm going to notch the bust points, okay, so that by the time I want to sew, it will guide me on how and where to start sewing. So in between the wording and the fabric, I'm going to put hemming gums so as to make it easier for me to fuse it. Although I'm still going to be using a steam iron, okay, so you're going to put your hemming gum underneath your pad like so. Then you're going to, if you're using a laminated foam, you might not need to put hemming gum in between. So for the sides, I'm going to place the fabric on it like so. From your under bust, do not forget the 0.5. Then you're going to shape it out first. After that, from the bust point, remember your 3 inches. You go ahead and mark it as well. Then you're going to cut it out. After cutting it out, you flip to the wrong side. Then you measure 3.5 inches or 4 inches. And you're going to shape it out just to form something like a cup, just to target the bust area alone. You don't want to go in too much. Then you're going to cut 2 for both sides. Now we're going to place it like this. Do not forget to put your hemming gum in between. This will help you a lot. So guys, I'm done fusing it and this is what we have. Now I'm going to be joining the 3 pieces together. Okay, so this is actually a dress that I'm going to be making in full. I'm going to do in a placement with this lace, but it's going to take much of our time and it's not even part of what we want to learn. I already show us how to do lace placement. You can check my previous video. Now to be able to join this correctly, you start by pinning the under bust. You place the under bust on each other or the bust points. The key part is the under bust and the bust points. You place it on each other like so and you pin it down. Okay, you pin it down. This is not a straight line, of course. You're going to expect some kind of feeling, but you just go ahead and pin carefully and make sure it aligns. So once you pin it through, then you are going to sew it exactly. So another tip for easy sewing is that do not remove the pins before sewing. As you are sewing, you remove the pins so that it won't shift. The other side, you are going to repeat the same process. As you can see how I placed it. Now I'm done joining, and the next thing is to iron it. Before that, you're going to notch the under bust and the bust point and the curved part so as to make it relax. After you have notched it, you're going to take it to the pressing iron and you open press. You're going to open up the seam allowance like so. Then you're going to iron it. That is what open press means, just like you see me doing here. And when you want to iron your bustier, please make use of a steam iron and a bust ham. So guys, at the end of the day, this is what it's going to look like. All right, the target for this video is just to cut and sew a shoulder, that to know how it looks like, how to cut and sew it. So that is why we're going to target the front, because I still have a lot of work to do on this dress and we might not be able to do that in this video. Just go ahead and join your back and every other thing together. Okay, that'll be all for this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share and drop your comment.